I think it's for everybody. It starts with this, presence, presence. What I see out of our students is a lack of presence. They're just not there. And they might be there physically, they're not there mentally, emotionally, or they're just not there at all. But it's not just them. We've seen the stories, on social media about parents. And I think there was one that's been circulating recently about, I think an elementary school teacher kind of quizzed her kids. And she said, what do you have to look forward to when you go home? And they said nothing. Nobody talks to me. My mom, my grandma, my brother will say, yeah, I'll get to that, but then they're buried all night. And we're all guilty of it, all of us. But presence, for me, is where it starts, right now with where we're at as a culture.
I think greatness on, when you listen to Rob speak and share of his experience, I think there's a lot of greatness to be said with wanting to be very good at what you do to achieve, but with the idea of being able to pass it on to somebody else. And I think you don't realize how much you do that. And I don't think Ball State realizes how much you do that, truthfully. And I've seen you. And I need to say it publicly, I'm real proud of you. How much you've grown over the last many years we've been together. And to watch you climb, get your doctorate, but with the idea of adding value to people. I think greatness is adding value to people. That's what greatness is. Greatness is, that's in a simple nutshell, that's greatness. And I have a few stories that I could tell. Bring your questions. You want to ask some of those questions?
Well, go ahead.
You ready to go? Well, here's where I saw a couple things in my career where I saw greatness. We had a manager, played with my son Alex, on one of our championship teams. Actually, he wasn't a manager, he was a fourth catcher. His name's Seth Vaughtall. And Seth didn't get to play very much. But Seth came with a countenance on his being over and over again. He lifted everybody up. So basically, a backup catcher, what you do is you just catch in the bullpen, and you catch in the bullpen, and you catch in the bullpen, and you catch in the bullpen. And that's what this young man did. And every time after he would catch one of the pitchers, he'd go shake his hand, give him a hug, big smile on his face, and encourage him. And he did it day in and day out, knowing that he was never going to be the star player, knowing that he was hardly ever going to get to play. In matter of fact, he batted 7 times that year on our championship team. He got 3 hits, so his average was better than anybody else's. But when he came up to bat, the entire team was on top step cheering this young man on. And when I gave a championship ring at the football game to the team, which is always a coach's finest moments, is when your players get to be acknowledged and for all their hard work. The greatest ring that I gave was to Seth Vaughtall. And that was barring none. Because despite really having a small effect as far as statistics go to the success of the team, he actually had a great deal of success for our team because he built the culture. He was the glue guy behind the scenes. And to me, that's greatness. I'll give you another quick one. Is Brian Bollington was a great player for us in our program. He played in the big leagues. He was the first player picked in the entire baseball draft at little old Ball State. And
number 1 overall.
Number 1, 1-1. So today we'd get a lot of good publicity. Back in that day, it was not as publicized as it is today. But anyway, Brian was a better person than he was a ball player, and still is today. But Brian, this is greatness. So we're in the Mid-American Conference tournament, and Brian's last year, it's 2002. He's got the whole brass for the Pittsburgh Pirates who own the first pick there. We don't know if he's going to be the first pick. We know he's going in the first couple picks. Brian pitches the worst game in his entire career. We lose to one of our rivals, Kent State, 13-3, I believe the score was, or 12-3. It was bad. Brian pitched 80 pitches, and now we had to go through the loser's bracket. We go through the loser's bracket. We win the next couple games, and on the last day, we have 2 games where we have to win. After we found ourselves back into the race, Brian, and only Brian could do this, he says, Coach, I need to pitch. I said, Brian, there's no way that I can pitch you. You just threw 80 pitches. You've only had 2 days rest. I've never asked this of you before. And I said, I can't do it because you're going to be a millionaire. All you have to do is stay healthy, and you're going to be one of the first couple picks picked in the draft. And he goes, no, Coach, you don't understand. I let the team down. I can't end my career like that. And then his father and his mother were Ball State athletes, and his dad, great, you talk about raising a great teammate. His dad said, Coach, you know, we've never got involved in any decision that you've made. We've always supported 100%. But if you think Brian can help the team, and Brian were to get hurt, it's all on us. So if you feel he can help the team, you go ahead and pitch him. And I told Brian, I'm against pitching you because it's too risky. You've given yourself to this program. You've taken us to great heights, but I don't think I could pitch you. But I said, here's what I'll do. If at some point in the game you feel that this is really what you want to do for the team, then you run down to the bullpen and you warm up and you wave your hand, and I'll put you in the game. The team's winning 6-3. There's bases loaded. It's only the third inning actually. And Brian runs down to the pen and he waves his hat. He pitches the next 6 1/3 innings, strikes out 9 on 2 days rest, kind of like a Yamamoto or whatever the guy's name is, and ends up winning. After the game, we still have to win another game. But to me, it was one of the most selfless acts because he ended up signing for $4 million, and he risked that for the good of the team. Now, to me, that's selfless and that's greatness.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I mean, most of us at some point in our life, especially as a teenager or something, we're selfish. But we want to pursue excellence, which is good. I'm curious who breathed life into you to think towards greatness.
I think my mom and dad. My dad's the machinist. We never had much money, but we had everything we needed. And my mom was the most selfless person I've ever met, barring none. Because we didn't have a lot of money, my dad still lives in the house, about 1,000 square foot, probably a little less, truthfully. Raised 3 boys. And my mother, she never wanted anything for herself. If you saw the closet that they have at the house, she had hardly any clothes in it because she wanted to give everything she had that they had to her boys, me and my 2 brothers. And my dad would work 10, 12-hour days, and he hated his job. And so he told me this. He said, son, I want you to do something that when you wake up in the morning, you're up and running. And it's never left me. And it never left me that my mother would tell me, hey, when I was a younger boy, my mother would say, we lived on there's a kind of a busy street after our street. So on the corner of a busy street. Well, when my dad would be coming home, my mother would say, hey, your dad's going to be coming home in a few minutes. And I'd run to the corner and I'd race my dad's car back into the driveway. And it was a very simple life. But we felt like we had everything we needed. And we didn't have much, but we had a lot of love. And so for me, it's another sign of greatness. My mom and dad, just regular human beings, who morally did things the right way and really my dad and mom, they always said, you're going to go to college. You're going to be the first one in the family to get a degree. And they made it happen with their money, and they had limited money. So it was tough because I wasn't a big scholarship guy. Matter of fact, I was a recruited walk-on when I came to college. But they bet on me. They believed in me. And to me, they were inspirational. Then my college coach, Fred Decker, gave me the opportunity to pursue my dream of playing, first of all, college baseball, but then my big dream was to play professional baseball. And he gave me the opportunity. A lot of times when you're a recruited walk-on, you don't get a necessarily, I've seen it a lot of times where you might not get a fair shake. I'm on the opposite spectrum because I was one of them. So I like the lowest man on the totem pole. And I always love telling it's a great story because I always tell everybody I was the lowest man on the totem pole. It was true. I was the 39th guy out of 39 guys. That's a true story. And I'm thankful that God allowed me in that situation, and I needed to be in that situation to achieve some of the things that he's blessed me with because I needed to fight my way through all that. And if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have been able to hopefully add value to the number of kids that I've had the privilege of working with. But Fred Decker breathed into me. He stayed with me. He stuck with me. And to this day, I talk to him almost weekly. He's one of my very, very best friends. And but he's one of the reasons why I decided to be a coach is because I want to be like him.
So what are some ways that you breathe greatness into your players and your staff who's here tonight?
Well, we pursue excellence. I think God would have it no different. I think we'd be falling greatly short if we didn't try to be the best version of ourselves that God's given us with the skill set that he's given each one of us, regardless of whatever career path we do. Mine just happened to be a baseball coach. But the reality is aspiring to bring the best out of ourselves and our players. So we got to try to lift others up. Now, some of that as a coach, you got to be a motivator. You got to push. You got to challenge. You got to have a high bar. Because it's funny because just the other day we had one of the boys, a boy that's going to be a very good player. It's my first year coaching him. He's a really good player. But in lifting, he said he lifted this amount of weight. And it was like, he was real happy. He said, I never thought I could do that. And I said, what in the world? I said, you set your bar so low. I said, I see 50 more pounds easily, and I truly do. But he had his bar so low. So us as coaches, so how do you add value? Is you set a bar that they can't even see right now. And I think that's one of the gifts that Coach Decker gave me from him, was he saw something in me that I could do more than maybe I thought I could. And my mom and dad did that. They saw something in me to, inspire me. And that I've been trying to pass on to the players. So I think if there's one thing that we try to do in our program is to have a standard of the way we do our business to give our kids the best chance to realize their full potential. And I always tell them, the only thing we're after is the best version of yourself. That's it. That's the expectation. That's all we should expect. But often, I don't think they realize what that version might be. So we try to paint a picture to help people to see that. But it's a lot. You gotta push. You gotta hug. I call it withdrawals and deposits. You have to make a lot more deposits than you do withdrawals, but you do have to make some withdrawals. Because you got to be challenged, because you got to go through the fire. If you don't go through the fire, you'll never reach your full potential. So there's people who do some really good things, but there's more in the tank, but because they never went through the fire, they'll never realize that. And to me, a coach has a balance of pushing and then loving and then, earning the respect of the players by how you do that. Now, sometimes they don't see it until they're after the fact. Later down the road, this is the beauty of where I'm at in my career right now, is now I'm getting a lot of the guys calling back and sharing from their experience, and it is a blessing. It's a blessing because the picture becomes clearer as they get out in the real world. And that's a blessing of coaching.
Yeah. And one of the things generationally we're definitely seeing is a struggle with feedback and coaching and anything kind of perceived as negative. And so it makes it that much harder. Like, you have to be committed to pouring in. And the example I give my students is, if I don't give you that feedback and I'm not honest with you, then I hate you. I hate you. So I'm going to be honest with you because you deserve it. If I want to be comfortable, I don't do it. It's not about me, it's about them. That's why we're here. And so for me, that's something that I've had to lean into, because the guy that's like, well, class will be over in an hour and I could fake my way through it and just let it go, but that's easy. It's hard to lean into it and be honest, but then also love on them.
Yeah, that's a great point. I also think, I always tell the guys every day, winning is really hard. Being successful is really hard. It's really hard. And we're in a society that actually craves mediocrity, believe it or not.
At best.
Yeah, mediocrity is like, okay. I'm thankful that my parents never raised me that way. And my dad would tell you, like, he's just a regular Joe, but he worked his tail off. And I admired that. I admire, man, staying on your feet for 12 hours a day in a job you don't like, but doing it to support your family. I admire that. But we set our bar too low, and I see it all the time. And I'm having a bit of a struggle right now with it, because I see it in some of the things that we're trying to do for our program, and some of the things that I have to battle through to accomplish some things that we're capable of accomplishing, but we're having to fight through, I call it bureaucracy or whatever.
Know it very well.
It's mediocrity. And I just can't, it's just not part of my being. And I think God doesn't want us to be mediocre. I really don't. I think he just expects us to give the best. And that doesn't mean you're going to win all the time. We certainly haven't won all the time. And we've had painful losses, and we went through a grind of, so it hasn't always been peaches and cream, that's for sure. But we've been blessed through setting a bar that's high. We fall a little bit short, and we're still better than most in a lot of ways. But more importantly, we've been able to impact a lot of young men and help them think bigger, have bigger aspirations, and really not only achieve in the business world or in the baseball world or whatever, but achieve in what I call real life. And I'll give you a quick case in point. He brought up Alex Call, which is one of our guys that's has a strong, deep faith, and he's not afraid to go public with it, which is admirable. We got another boy that was called up to the big league, Zach Cole, and Zach Cole with the Houston Astros might end up being a superstar, but he's a superstar at another round. I watched that boy grow and fight through some things that most people would have wilted. But when he got interviewed on the MLB Network, he had a Jesus One shirt on, and he is just truly from the depth of, I watched this kid grow while he was with us. I watched him suffer while he was with us. And to watch him get his moment and to be able to stand in a podium and praise the Lord from the true depth of his heart, it was amazing. It was amazing. I stood amazed. And to think as a coach in some small little way that you might have a chance to impact somebody, and then to watch them thrive is a great blessing. It's a great blessing. I've seen it numerous times over, and sometimes it's subtle. You don't see it all on the forefront like the World Series or in the big leagues. But when we invest in people, you you just know that you're planting a lot of seeds, and those seeds can be fertilized by somebody else, and then they help us become a better place to live, a better world. So wherever you're at, and those people that you're breathing into, you don't know just how much effect you might be having. Sometimes you do, but a lot of times you don't. But keep winning. That's winning with people.
Yeah. Zach Cole, of course, called up to the big leagues, what was it, August or something? September?
Yeah, pretty late. Yeah, August.
First
in the
pitch,
playoff race.
First pitch, gone. And I sent him a text and I said, no surprise there. We knew he was going to explode, but it's a pretty cool moment because he really did struggle. Oh.
So I think he struck out 9 out of 12 times his sophomore year. He only batted 12 times. Think of that. He couldn't even make the lineup. And he stayed the course. He could have left. He could have left. Most people would have left. It's part of his story, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it helped him, truthfully, realize his goal. I think he needed to go through that fire and survive it, and I think that's why he's a big leaguer today, and I think he'll have a chance to be a star.
And what's really cool, though, after that moment, it wasn't about Zach Cole. It was about God.
I watched him grow in that, too. I watched him be in front of Chapel for our team, which was amazing in and of itself.
Well, I think that's a good spot to end on. Any questions for us?